This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is Not America's Sweetheart, Davian. And
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy Jane.
This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Hi, this is Nicky Foxely, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and CastBox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I'm, of course, your host, James J., and it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with Nicky Foxely.
Oh my god, that's me. Hi, I'm Nicky. And I'm from Germany.
And greetings from California.
Ooh, the sunny state.
Yes, it's a bit chilly nowadays because of, winter, but yeah, it's, like the other day it was maybe like 80, so.
Well, I'm looking outside the window and there's snow, so I think I've got you covered there.
I've lived here a very long time. I've only seen it snow once.
Well, it's more than I would have expected.
Yeah, it was.
California.
It was a very interesting experience. But where
Yes.
can we find you on where can we find you event-wise coming next?
Well, I will be wrestling mostly in Germany, of course, but I think these are all available on YouTube. I think either live or a few days after. So I will be wrestling on the 25th of January for Fury, which is an all-women's wrestling promotion, and on February 1st, I will be wrestling on Eevee. But you can always catch me on my social medias. Just Google Nicky Foxley or search me on Instagram or YouTube. You will find me. I'm the only one.
Perfect. And where can we find merchandise as well?
Unfortunately, I don't have any at the moment. I sell energy drinks at local shows, but we're still working on a t-shirt design because my tech team sadly broke up in December, so we don't have merch anymore.
I gotcha. So in the works.
Yes. Coming up, hopefully.
All right. And you don't have to go looking for it. All of the links to all her social media will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and CastBox. Right. So let's get into it. It wasn't too long ago. You wrestled a one Millie McKenzie, the former WWE alumni, in a tag team match, I believe. What was that experience like?
Sorry, I didn't catch the whole name.
Millie McKenzie.
Yeah, sure. It was, I think, about a year ago, a little more than a year ago, and it was great. She's just so chill and everything, and well, naturally, since she and her partner are quite big, not only Millie from WWE, but also they're big names in the UK. So right. Me and my partner were very, very nervous because we didn't want to look stupid. We didn't want to injure them. We didn't want to do any big mistakes, but they were just so chill and cool and guided us through everything so that the nervousness was gone in the very first second. And I don't know, over here, it happens that women aren't as, handsy and do not really punch you when they try to punch you, but those two really laid it in. And that was great because we could immediately match their intensity. And it was just, I think it was the best match I ever had, honestly.
So, I haven't interviewed too many people from Germany. Is it from what I've gathered, it's more technical. So you don't necessarily do strong style.
No, that's more a UK thing. We are mostly trained in the technical stuff, with the exceptions of a few big guys, but the women, I think we have two in all of Germany, and I think one of them is retired already.
I gotcha.
So, yeah, and we have, I think, one or two high-flying people, but on a very, very low level.
Low high flyer.
Yeah, low flyers. I don't know.
Your tag team partner in that match, your tag team partner in general, a part of the Lunatiks, Tayra Gates. Can you tell us about your relationship with her?
Well, I had my very, very first match against her in 2016. But I've known her for several years before. We met while I was still a trainee and she was just a ring girl. And thanks to her partner being my trainer, we had the opportunity to train together a couple of times, and just by fighting each other, we got to know each other better and better, became very good friends. And at one point we were just like, why not just form a tag team? Because there was no all-female tag team in Germany. They were all just randomly put together. And we thought, hey, we're such good friends. We match each other in the ring. We can easily put our moves together to form tag team moves and stunts. And so it happened. And yeah, the promoters liked it. So we've been booked as a tag team since 2018 or 19, I think. 18. And now we broke up.
And I'm sure that you will come back together as well.
No spoilers, but I think so, yes.
So you basically, started together. Obviously you said your first match. I believe that was in, not even in Germany, that was in Switzerland, correct?
No, it was well, half correct. It was in Italy. So, but we were a full car of Swiss and German people, and we just drove down to Italy.
What was that? What's the experience like wrestling in Italy compared to Germany?
Well, I don't know if this is too much cliche, but we Germans are very punctual, and the Italians are not. So if you go to a German show and it says it starts at 7, it would start at 7 or 7:05. If you go to Italy, the main event will most often start at midnight or a little later. So this was a very interesting experience because the crowd was just getting tired a lot faster than here. But on the other hand, the people backstage were just very relaxed and cool, and there was not that much pressure and having to conform to like unwritten rules of respect and stuff like that. It was a lot more chill in Italy.
Okay, I gotcha. Going back to Tayra, what's a pet peeve about her that you just don't understand?
In private life or in wrestling life?
Whatever you'd like to share.
That's a very good question. Now I have to be careful because I think she will listen to this. But at times she's very undecisive. So we went to Ireland in 2020 for I think a little over a week. And I basically planned everything. So every morning I was like, what do you want to do? And she was like, oh, I don't know. And I had to plan to go to this museum or to this shopping center and take her around town because I lived there for a while. And yeah, she didn't give that much input. I was a little annoyed by that, but maybe that's my problem because I'm a very efficient person. I don't know. But that's how we get together a lot, because she's laid back and I am very stressful. So I think she has her fair share of work with me as well.
You complement each other.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for in my head, but it just didn't come out.
You mentioned Ireland. You were there for pro wrestling, correct?
Yes, we mostly went there to train. Unfortunately, there was no show at this during that time, but we wanted to train there and just combined it with vacation.
I gotcha. And I mean, Ireland. What are you eating in Ireland?
Oh my god. Mostly bread and muesli. But they have a Nando's and Subway in Dublin, so that's okay. But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of British and Irish food, but I love British breakfast or English breakfast. So at least the breakfast is something I can eat all day if possible.
I mean, you mentioned Nando's. You prefer Nando's over KFC?
I think I like Nando's more, but just because you cannot go to KFC in Germany. I had such bad experiences here, so
Really?
I really don't like it.
You know, it's interesting. I think everybody I've talked to internationally has had a bad experience at a KFC.
I don't know, maybe our standards are different, or the German or I don't know, European KFCs are just not up to par. I would like to go to America and try it out, and I'm really wanting to go to Taco Bell, but apparently there are, I think in 3 German cities this year are supposed to open a Taco Bell franchise. So I'm really looking forward to try this, because I haven't been there ever.
That's interesting. And weirdly enough, I literally ate Taco Bell yesterday.
I hear a lot about it. I hear that going to the bathroom after it is an experience, and yeah, I want to have this experience. I don't know. I'm a masochist.
Yes, Taco Bell and Chipotle. Yeah, you will. It's an experience going in and coming out.
Literally. Oh, no.
Yes.
But it's one of the main reasons I want to go to America. I want to eat all your food, or try all your food.
I mean, there's a lot of good reasons. That's a really good reason to come to America. We do have good food.
Even if the best one is Mexican or Mexican adjacent.
Depends on where you are in the States. So, I mean, I live in California, so yeah, we have top-notch Mexican food here. But let's get back to pro wrestling for a minute.
Okay, if we have to.
You wrestled for WXW. One of the better-known wrestling companies in Germany. What was that experience like?
I think it even is the biggest one we have, I think, with the exception for GWF in Berlin. And it was, well, I had a tryout in the very beginning of my career, which didn't went so well for the company. But I think the very first big booking I had was actually during the pandemic, the Corona pandemic, because they couldn't get that much talent from outside. So we had to get tested, and then we were in a bubble for a little over a weekend. And that was a strange experience in itself, because there were no people, the crowd was just the other wrestlers, and you had to wrestle a lot differently because there was no crowd. You only focused on the camera, and there was no real time to enjoy your moves because you had to do everything very quick and in succession. So I don't think that was very representative for wrestling for WXW. But afterwards, I gotta say the crowd is just wild. They have the biggest and I think the loudest crowd here in Germany, and that was just exhilarating. So of course they have a lot of great talents, so you can wrestle against very skilled and awesome people, but I think the best thing about WXW is the crowd, because they're just so passionate and they love singing, and it's just fun to be in the ring when they sing boos at you instead of shouting them. It's funny.
No, obviously you started with them during the pandemic.
Yeah.
How was it? How did you kind of adjust? Obviously no crowd, and obviously as a pro wrestler, that's a big component for you. No.
It is. I love crowd work. I love gimmick work, and this was just not happening. So it's a lot more intense, and I gotta say frustrating to wrestle without a crowd, because you just have no one really to bounce off when your opponent is down, or if you have someone in a hold or in a lock, what do? All you can do is look into a camera lens, and yeah, it was frustrating, really.
Well, I mean, you did get a good experience with WXW. You competed in the Femmes Fatales Tournament in 2022, no?
Yes, I did, against Alice Inc. back then, who actually won the tournament.
Yes.
The following.
What was that experience like? Obviously, a big tournament, one of the bigger tournaments for female pro wrestlers, in front of a crowd, a lot of names attached to it.
Yeah, and especially, well, WXW is also touring in Germany, but then you have these big events like Femme Fatale or 16 Karat Gold and stuff like that
Right.
are in their, I would say, hometown of Oberhausen. And the crowd there is just the usual WXW crowd, but times 100. So it was very loud, but you immediately feel welcome. And of course, you have the biggest female names available with you. So it was also great backstage. Even though I had a match against Alice only, you could talk to everyone, and everyone was so receptive, and it was so nice to just meet them backstage and tap a little bit into their knowledge. That was great.
I mean, the other part of that tournament was it was on the on Peacock, a part of WWE content. So you are on technically the WWE Network / Peacock. What does that kind of mean to you to be featured on WWE programming?
At the beginning, I tried to not really think about it, because it would just add so much pressure to performance. But afterwards, I didn't tell that many people. And one day, a guy friend just called me and was like, "Dude, I'm watching you on the WWE Network. How did that happen?" And it slowly sank in that, I don't know, because Germany is such a niche, wrestling is such a niche sport in Germany. Not many people know it. Not many people watch it. And then you have to stumble upon it on the WWE Network, looking for other things than WWE content. And just to think that someone in America or in Brazil is watching a match of mine, I don't know. I cannot really wrap my head around it, because I'm so in my European little bubble. I don't know. It's wild. It's a scope I cannot comprehend, really. And yeah, I mean, you can watch the Stone Cold documentary I watched when I started out watching wrestling, and you can watch my match afterwards on the same network. It's just like, how? How? Well,
I mean, I can imagine that's maybe a full circle moment, no?
kinda. I think well, wrestling for WWE would be the fullest circle, but I think this is the closest I will ever get. So yeah, it's wild. I cannot. My little brain can't comprehend this, really.
I gotcha. What Stone Cold documentary was that?
Oh my god, it was one of the first ones. I don't know what it's called, but it was a white DVD cover I just picked up from a store over here, with a skull in front of it, and it was just his starting out at WWF, I think, and the ECW era, and yeah, it had a lot of influence on me because I loved Stone Cold back then.
Hold on. I think it's called the Untold, the bottom line. No. Yeah, the bottom line.
Yeah.
On the most popular superstar of all time.
Yes. You have it right there, haven't you?
It's in my DVDs are literally right in back of me, so I literally just turned around.
Well, I'm in the kitchen. I would have to leave you. So.
No, that was
but
that was a good one.
yeah, I really loved it because I loved him back then, and I was just I went to the local DVD store and I was like, "What do you have on wrestling? Oh my God, they have Stone Cold," and then I just grabbed it.
No, you were able to, you were ACW's Female Wrestler of the Year at one time. What did that kind of mean to you to be, put on that pedestal for that company?
Oh God, that was a long time. You did your research, didn't you?
Yes, it was 2019.
Oh, that was, oh my God, that feels so long ago because of the stupid pandemic. But yeah, they have this ceremony every December where they just give out awards to people who competed in this year. And it was like, we weren't that many women, so there wasn't a big pool to choose from. But it was weird being the one being chosen because I always see myself as more of a sidekick or a supporting character. And then they were like, no, you had an impact this year and this is your award. And I was just blown away because this was not how I saw myself. I don't know. Did you read AJ Lee's book?
Did not read her book. No.
Well, there was a section when she first started out in NXT where she was like kind of the female Chris Jericho who was just helping other people get over and get better and make them look good in the match. And this is how I saw myself for a very, very long time because I just like telling a story without being the main character. And then ACW just put me into the main character light, and I was just, I don't know if I belong here, but thank you. I don't know. It was surreal because it was just the complete opposite of how I saw myself always.
I mean, you was PWLE Swiss Women's Champion at one point as well.
Oh, I still am actually, but just because they didn't have a show since then.
Forever champion.
I gave the belt back. I think a little more over a year ago. I returned the belt because I was like, hey, nothing's happening. But I had it in my wardrobe for forever without ever having to fight for it again. So.
I mean, obviously winning a championship, especially your first championship, an important moment. Is that a moment you took in the moment, or is that something that kind of set in afterwards? Like, wow, I did this.
I mean, it wasn't. There were not many shows of this promotion back then, so I basically won the title on a show that was made by the school I was in back then. So it felt a little bit smaller because I was just like, yeah, I train here every week, and now I'm competing for a title in this very ring. So it didn't set in basically until I took the title home with me, and it was sitting on my wardrobe, and I was like, oh, well, yeah, that happened. My first belt, I didn't even realize when I was taking pictures with it. It was just when I took it home, and it kind of transferred into my private life by seeing it every day, that I was like, huh, I did that, didn't I?
All right. Well, I think that's a good segue into Nicky's Bizarre Adventure. You're a pro wrestler that goes up and down the roads, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
Yeah, actually. It was one where we packed our car full of people to go to Italy again. And I mean, it was a 1.5 hour drive for my partner and me to get some people from Switzerland. And then we had to drive all the way to Italy. And it was in the summer, and there is a very big tunnel that leads to Italy from Switzerland, the Gotthard. And there was a traffic jam for about, I think it reached the 4 hour mark. And we were so scared that even though the shows in Italy start quite late, we were really afraid to not make it in time. And that's a very German fear, to not make it in time. And at one point, our car just started smoking.
Oh, no.
And we thought it was the heat or something, and we had to call the Swiss patrol, and with a German car, which is weird in the first place. And they pulled us out of the traffic jam and almost right to the entrance of the tunnel, where they checked our car. And it was apparently we had an oil change 2 days ago, and it was just some oil left on the motor, which evaporated and smoked. So there was nothing, and they just threaded us into the line, and we went straight into the tunnel and evaded a 4 hour traffic jam, which was great.
All right, well, that's a good bizarre adventure.
And a very German one, I think. It was a car, and we were luckily on time. This sounds so German.
Right. Now, pertaining to pro wrestling, you was featured in the newspaper. It's one thing to be featured, on a website, but I think it kind of hits a little harder when, it's in black and white. Can you tell us what that meant to you?
Well, it was quite funny because it was a local newspaper, if that's the one you're referring to, because there was a show in my hometown back then. And we were just going shopping, and I just randomly picked up the newspaper to see if we're on it, and we were on the front page of the local part, which was weird. And I was just standing in line like, oh my God, what if someone notices us? If they recognize us? And then my boyfriend's colleagues put it up in their break room, and every time I went to visit him for the next 2 years, there was this newspaper article. Because we also have a German wrestling magazine, and sometimes there were just pictures and match results. But being in a local newspaper was just weird, because it's like, yeah, this is people I could meet on the street, and they could have read about my weird hobby. It's fun. Nobody ever stopped me on the street, but yeah. It's something I still have the article. It's a keepsake, for sure.
I could imagine, definitely.
Especially nowadays, where articles are online, you don't really print them out, do you? So someone just printed it for you. It's great.
That's why why I mentioned, it's one thing to have it, online, but to have it actually in your hand, black and white, it hits different.
Yeah. Especially, I'm a little bit older, so I still grew up with all the newspapers and magazines and stuff, and yeah, it's just like having something almost ancient nowadays.
It kind of feels that way sometimes. Alright. Can you tell us about your love of Tank Girl?
Excuse me, of what?
Tank Girl?
Oh, you mean this crazy woman with almost no hair?
Yes, the comic book.
Around in the apocalypse. Yeah. She was, I don't know, if people think of the Wasteland, most people think of Mad Max. And for me, it has always been Tank Girl because I was quite young and I think it was a Sunday afternoon where I watched TV and then there was this weird movie with this woman running around in a destroyed world and beating up guys. I don't know. I was always a fan of strong female characters like Xena the Warrior Princess and stuff. And she was fitting right in. And my boyfriend was always like, yeah, Mad Max in the cars. And I was like, dude, this girl has a tank. Go away with your fucking cars. Oh, yeah. She's... whenever we go to a comic store or something, I always browse the shelves to find comics of her. I think I have a couple ones, not really in succession, but whatever I can find, I just grab because she was one of those strong females I just really looked up to when I was younger.
Did you it's interesting because when it comes to the movie, some people that are fans or either, they could go either way with it. But you discovered Tank Girl because of the movie.
Exactly, because comics aren't that big here. We have Mickey Mouse and stuff. And of course, my boyfriend grew up with Spider-Man or Batman and stuff. But as a girl, we had the German. We read more of the French and Belgian comics like Tintin and Asterix.
Gotcha.
So I never really had contact with the comics until I was a lot older. So the movie was my first contact with Tank Girl, and I had nothing to go off, so I thought it was amazing. And I think by now, if I rewatch it, I think it's 80% nostalgia talking if I say it's great, and not really the adaptation or the cineastic masterpiece it is.
That being said, I don't necessarily know how to describe this, so I'll do my best. You take part in Viking Renaissance fairs?
Now you found another pet peeve of mine. Yesterday I watched a video of a cosplayer going to a Renaissance fair. And the things I saw, because history is much closer over here in Europe than it is in America. The things that are considered Ren fairs for you are like fantasy conventions over here, because a Ren fair, at least in Germany and in France, is very, very historically accurate. So there are no fairies, there are no goblins or orcs. It's really just historically accurate. Okay. And it's so funny because they talked about having to stand in line for hours for a tunnel cake, and I was like, yeah, we got this on every Christmas market over here. So, but yeah, we have a lot of fantasy conventions over here where you can live out those fantasies we don't have at the Ren fairs, and it always combines things like Star Wars, but also Sailor Moon, Doctor Who, Harry Potter, and since I think 3 or 4 years, there's a growing market for Wasteland stuff. So we partake in this with a group called the Devil's Rejects. And we just go there, we look cool, we take photos with people and march in a parade and be loud and obnoxious. Which is very easy when you come from a pro wrestling background, being obnoxious.
I was gonna say.
So it's perfect.
How did that come about for you? How did you start doing that?
Well, we started out wanting to do this kind of gimmick of Tank Girl, Mad Max, and the Wastelands after visiting such a fair with my tag team partner and my partner. And we were just so enamored with the fun and the rustiness and dirtiness of the Wastelands. So we wanted to bring this into wrestling. And at one point, we just went to a comic convention. And the people from the Devil's Rejects were like, "Oh my God, you look cool. Do you want to join?" And we said, "Oh, well, we don't have a time-consuming hobby already, so why not?" And yeah, so that happened. And we also like to go just for ourselves, buy a ticket, and then walk around doing this stuff, just 2 or 3 or 4 of us without the group. And in summer, we went to a very, very big fantasy fair, and they had a Thunderdome. And since then, I have this idea in my head that I want to do a cage match in a fucking Thunderdome. That would be so great.
I mean, I kind of feel like pro wrestling in, a Mad Max-esque world would fit really well.
It will. This is what I'm trying to do, because I like my costume and everything, but you have to strip down so much to get into the ring, because you cannot wrestle with protruding screws and stuff like that.
Right.
I would kill people, or even worse, I would destroy the ring or the mat, and I don't want that. So you have to strip down to the very basics until you have just wrestling gear again. And I think the Thunderdome setting allows for a little bit more, because you don't have to be that careful with your surroundings. And I've seen people setting each other on fire in there, so maybe that's a goal.
Inferno match?
Hmm?
Inferno match?
Exactly. But yeah, I don't think we do things like that here in Germany, even when we have our hardcore shows and stuff like that. But in the Thunderdome, we could do it.
And I mean, yeah, I did see that you had like this badass owl on your hat. Just, he was just chilling.
Yeah, little Hades.
I mean, if you could get that owl to accompany you to the ring, I mean, that's an awesome gimmick right there.
Yeah, I think that would be cute, but I think for the ring I would go for a bigger one. I think it would break my neck basically sitting on my head, but just for the show I would want like one of those big wood owls or barn owls or something like that. But Hades, he was cute. He was very, very suspicious of my partner, which I found out later when looking at the pictures. But yeah, that would be a great gimmick, but I think owning an owl is a lot of work.
Probably, yes. Speaking of hats, early on you had a fox hat that you used to come out in. Where'd you get that?
You really went a long way back, didn't you?
Yes.
Well, I do love foxes, which is, I think, quite apparent from my name. And I was just browsing this big online shopping center with an A, I don't want to name. And there was like just in so many colors and varieties, and I just had to buy them because I didn't have anything really remotely foxy on me when I went into the ring, and this was just I was face back then, so this was just like the perfect silly funny thing that at least ties my name to my gear somehow. Yeah, so I got it from Big A.
All right. You was actually featured on an energy drink. Unbreakable on the energy drink. Obviously, we could see wrestlers on a lot of things, but, energy drinks are not, necessarily one of them. What was that experience like, seeing yourself on an energy drink?
Well, it is quite ironic because I don't drink coffee. But I have an addiction to energy drinks. So if I don't drink a can of Monster a day, I get a very bad headache. So it was ironic seeing my face on the thing that is, I think, the most... I'm a wrestler, and I'm saying that the most unhealthy thing I do is drink energy drinks. But yeah, seeing myself on this was just so ironic because I'm addicted to this stuff and it's not good. Yeah, this is my destroying my body from the inside, while wrestling is destroying my body from the outside.
So, it's like having your face on a coffee cup, so to speak?
Yeah, or on a pack of cigarette, or on a beer can, depending on what your vice is. So it was this for me. It's like, oh yeah, I'm on the thing I need the most, basically. Or my body thinks I need the most.
All right. Can you tell us about your tattoos and if there is any significant meaning to them?
Oh my god, you should have asked me a couple of years ago because I hadn't that many back then. Oh, I have so many. Well, I have a wrestling tattoo, actually. I have a luchador mask on my right leg. So this is basically the leg where I'm a collector. So on my right leg, I just collect things that happen to me and hobbies. So I have a book there because I read. I love to read. I have the Croatian sun there because I love the country. I have a shamrock, a 3-leaf clover for Ireland on this, as well as the paws of my dog who passed away. And yeah, so those have quite some nostalgic meaning for me. And I'm still gathering things to just add to this leg. There's also a mouse I just got because I like the motif. Then I have I had 2 bat wings on my back to keep me balanced. This was actually my first tattoo. I got, oh my god, I think 17 years ago. So, and at one point they started to look like 2 umbrellas. So I covered them up with even bigger wings. And in the dark parts, there are now a rat and a fox because I just love these animals so much. And which was the next one? Then I got a fox on my left arm, which I really love foxes, which we already established. And I covered it up as well, I think in the last year or 2 years ago, and added a hair, which is just started this sleeve with my love for nature and animals and stuff like that. So I also have a falcon on it by now, and I just got it colored, I think 2 weeks ago. And on my right arm, I started collecting stuff from my childhood. So I have one of the bunnies from Watership Down just above my elbow, and the falcon from Animals of the Farthing Wood. And I'm planning on doing a lot more childhood stuff like the Neverending Stories and Xena and Sailor Moon on it. So yeah, it's a growing project of collecting a lot of things connected to nature, my life, and my childhood.
Can you tell us about your love of Sailor Moon?
Well, it was the first anime I knowingly watched because we had a lot of cartoons over here that were produced in Japan, but you just didn't know it because it was like Swiss stories like Heidi.
Right.
And it was the first anime I knew was from Japan, and I watched, and I was just like, this magical girl, just this normal girl transforming into a superhero. It was like, I think it was for like Wonder Woman was for many American girls, just this normal woman or normal girl turning into a superhero, and it was the first of her kind that I really watched. And the power of friendship and all these cheesy things, I loved it as a kid. I still love the 90s cartoon. I haven't watched Crystal yet because I'm a little bit afraid that it might take something from me. I don't know what. But yeah, I love it, and I want to show that with my tattoos as well.
I'm curious, did you get the English dub or did they dub it in German?
We have a German dub, so most things that came from no, we dub everything, seriously. So we have everything that comes from America or stuff is in the German dub. And since we had to do this for don't know series like Seinfeld and Friends anyway, we have very, very good speakers or voice actors, so it was no problem doing this for all the cartoons and all the anime as well. And I really like it because I think they made some changes they did in America as well, like turning, is it Zoisite? I think they turned him female as well in the German dub, but at least they left Uranus and Neptune the way they are in the Japanese version. They're not cousins. There are a couple.
Yeah. In the American version, they were cousins, and low-key, it's still a little weird.
Yeah, they're very, very close cousins, apparently.
Yeah, that's definitely something you have to get used to. Going back now and watching, because they just redubbed it not too long ago in the way that was traditionally supposed to be. So I am going back and rewatching it the way that it was supposed to be, in the traditional Japanese version.
So did they also leave the starlights as they were in the Japanese version? Because I think there was a change to erase their trans identity or something. I don't know, because they just left it in German, so they were men transforming into women. It was just normal.
There was a few things. There was a lot of things that they changed. I mean, Usagi was Sabrina, so yeah. So I mean, there was a lot of differences between the American and the Japanese version. But now, you can get a dubbed version that is the traditional Japanese version.
That's good. Because I think it's how it was intended. So why change it? Because it just takes from the original and from the meanings. So
I mean, it was a different time. So, obviously anime isn't as big as it was now than it was back then. And I mean, we didn't have the internet, so we couldn't necessarily tell anyway.
True. But I think they sometimes they make changes that I can understand. Like, I think, was it in Inside Out 1, where baby Riley gets different things she doesn't like to eat depending on the culture. So I understand that, but erasing someone's whole gender identity is weird.
Right.
Well.
Who's your favorite Sailor Guardian?
Mars.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. No question.
Obviously, you're Foxley. You have a fox tattoo. We talked about, the fox hat. Where does your love for foxes come from?
I think I blame media as well as my upbringing for it, because I think nowadays you would call it furries or something, but I really loved those anthropomorphic animals back when I was a child, and my favorite cartoons were the Disney Robin Hood version with the fox. I loved Cap and Copper. There was I think Czech cartoon about a fox that I really loved, and I grew up in a village with about under 100 people, and so I spent a lot of times in the woods and stuff, and my parents took me out there many times, and just to see the foxes, because those were, I don't know, a drawing thing that would bring me outside and away from the TV and from my books. So I was conditioned to love them, really. And they're very clever, and we have a lot of stories and fables with foxes just being so clever and so intelligent and so funny, and I just really related to that. Because they weren't necessarily the nicest ones, they weren't the most intelligent ones, but they were clever and funny, and I can relate to that.
That being said, what does the fox say?
Ring ding 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 ding. I tell you, when this song came out, it was like a curse. Everyone screamed it at me at the ring.
I can imagine.
Oh, well.
It was a very catchy song at the time.
Yeah, but it's my own fault because I used Fox on the Run for my entrance song and stuff like that. So I tried to lean into it, but at one point I just couldn't hear it anymore. I'm so glad it is over.
Right. Now can you tell us about the vlog you had on YouTube?
Oh my god. Yeah, the time when I tried to be a YouTuber. Well, it was not very common in Germany. We had one guy who was doing like reviews and DVD reviews and talking about shows in Germany. And then we had one guy from WRESTLINGWITHE who tried to do some, nowadays you would call it TikToks or YouTube shorts backstage, but there was no one really leaning into all the backstage and traveling stuff of wrestling, and I tried to do that. But honestly, I'm so bad at editing, so that my vlogs aren't really, for me, they're not really watchable, but mostly because I'm in it. I had fun while it lasted, and then there was the pandemic and there was nothing to do anymore. And I tried to continue a little bit, but then I just completely lost interest, and I was working in a different job back then, and when I left the job I had to give up my PC from home office, so I didn't have a good PC for editing anymore, and then I just phased it out slowly.
Do you think we'll ever see a return of the vlog?
I'm actually trying to do it a little bit in my Instagram stories by now, just a short form, because nowadays I don't really find the time to vlog everything because my new job is a lot more demanding. And I don't know, many people do not like to be on camera. So,
right.
And by now I just like to enjoy being with the people backstage and not wanting to put a camera in their face every time or having to find something interesting to vlog without revealing too much, which is not that easy in wrestling where we guard our secrets very well.
Right.
But yeah, I'm doing some short stories or reels from time to time, so you can see watch them on Instagram. But my YouTube channel is basically dead. It's just an archive by now.
I mean, you could always update it. You know, matches, new vlogs. You know, whatever you may find interesting.
Yeah, but maybe I will find my way back. I actually use it to collect all the shows and matches that are on YouTube in certain playlists, but I think they're private.
I think it's time for the colossal question. Let's say they're making a movie about you. Every movie has a soundtrack. What would be the first 3 songs on your movie soundtrack?
Oh my god, that's a difficult question. I think, well, if you talk about my wrestling stuff, I fear it would be What Does the Fox Say? I don't think there's a way around this. But yeah, I'm really big into punk and metal, mostly melodic and power metal and stuff like that. And I think something really epic from Blind Guardian would be great for the beginning and for complete subversion because my life is so not epic. So, something like Turn the Page or the Bard song, something like that.
Okay.
And then maybe something really fun from the 80s. I don't know if I can think of something from the top of my head, but The Sign from Ace of Base or something like that just conveys this fun I try to bring into my life and into other people's life.
All right. A solid 3 picks to say the least. Now that we have the soundtrack down, everybody knows you get the soundtrack first, then you write the script, and then you go to casting. Who plays you? And you can't say yourself because you are obligated to make a Stan Lee-esque cameo.
Oh. So, this is difficult. This is really difficult. There's this one actress, people told me that I look like her a lot. She was in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. What's her name?
Was it
Let
the
me think.
girl with the dragon tattoo?
Yeah, I think it's Rooney Mara, who played Lisbeth.
Okay.
So I think it would only be fair if people say I look like her, that she would play me.
And I mean...
Yeah, I go with Rooney Mara.
Perfect. She went from a dragon tattoo to a fox tattoo.
A full circle for her. I like that for her. And for me.
Now that we have you casted, every movie has a supporting cast. Who would be 3 people significant to you and your story that you would want in your movie, and who would play them?
Well, of course I would like my partner to be in there. And for very, very selfish reasons, I would like this to be cast with Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
I think he would approve well because my partner is a very big fan of Deadpool.
Okay.
At least the comics. So Ryan Reynolds is a very good pick for that, I guess. Then, of course, no movie could exist without Tayra.
Of course.
So I would need someone. She's a very big fan of Harry Potter. So I think Emma Watson would be a great pick for her.
Okay.
I think she would really appreciate that. And I would like to have both my parents in there, but I only have one person left.
You can have them both in it. They can count as one.
Yes. Then I would like my parents, and without aging them too much. And well, I found a loophole because I would love to have my mother in there, but I would love for Dame Maggie Smith to play her, but she's dead, unfortunately.
Hey, we have CGI. We could make it work.
Oh. Well, I would like Dame Maggie Smith to portray my mother.
Perfect.
And then someone like very cool, like Ron Perlman for my father. Yeah.
All right. This is sounding like a great movie. A blockbuster, to say the least.
With no villains so far.
And you could pre-order the tickets now.
Yes. In theaters, I think 2080 or something like that.
Yeah, 28. So let's go for it. Onto a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza.
No.
What's your stance?
There. If you're European and live very close to Italy, there is no question. No pineapple on pizza. No pineapple on toast. And just no pairing of pineapple and ham ever.
Who's putting pineapple on their toast?
This is actually, I fear it's a German thing, but you have pizza. We call it pineapple on pizza, Pizza Hawaii. and for whatever reason. And then there was a trend to do everything Hawaii. So we had toast with butter and ham and pineapple and cheese.
Oh, that does not sound
And
good.
I think no. So toast Hawaii was the very first contact I had with this concept, and I hated it ever since. So no sandwich Hawaii, no toast Hawaii, no pizza with pineapple. No. I wouldn't put ham and cheese into a pina colada either, wouldn't I? Ugh.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense.
See, maybe it's the Italian indoctrination, but I don't like it.
Now, I do have one, German exclusive question for you, considering you are a German from Germany.
Yes.
And that is Germany's greatest national treasure David Hasselhoff?
I mean, he tore down the wall single-handedly. No, he's not. I mean, if he wants to believe it, I want to leave that to him. But I have no idea where this comes from, because no.
Okay, so if David Hasselhoff is not Germany's greatest national treasure, who is?
I don't know, Angela Merkel. No. If you want a fun answer, go with Angela. If you want a real answer, it's I think our nature. I think nothing beats the Alps, and yes, they are part ours, Austria. So yes.
All right. What's your spirit Pokemon?
Not my favorite, but my spirit Pokemon.
Yes. I mean, your favorite Pokemon can be your spirit Pokemon if that's what you wish.
Well, that would be what's the English name for it? I think Dragonair. It's the last cool evolution of this dragon Pokemon. But I think my
okay, I'm sorry.
I think it's Dragonair. It's my Dragonair is my favorite one, but I think my spirit Pokemon is Ghastly or something, like a little ball of mischief.
Okay. Now, weirdest question you'll be asked on a wrestling interview: would you ever consider wrestling a Rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual physical Rock.
How big is the Rock?
I'd say it's about the size of a shoe.
So not a pebble, but not a boulder, but a rock.
Right.
I think it would be painful, but for the right amount of money, I would, yes. I would definitely wrestle a Rock.
Well, just for context, there's a wrestler named Psycho Mike that indeed wrestled a Rock for over 15 minutes in a Tungsten Man match. That's an Iron Man match that lasts for 2 weeks.
The dedication.
Yes. I mean, he had a couple of matches while he was wrestling The Rock, but, he was still in the match with The Rock.
I love that. I love that for him. I mean, we have seen people wrestle invisible people and dolls, blow-up dolls, so I respect the hustle. I do.
Yes. I believe Mike wrestled an invisible person as well, so, he does things.
I love it. It's funny, and I can appreciate everything that's funny.
On a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years. I would be so old by then. I hope that my body would still allow me to still do wrestling, but a little less. And my aspiration, I don't know if 5 years is too early for that, but I aspire to be the weird hag from the cottage nearby.
Okay.
So I will be on my way to that because I want to throw frogs at people crossing my lawn and stuff like that. I really look forward to that.
Okay, so this is something you inspired to do.
Yeah, so maybe I will lay the groundstone for my cottage and start my frog collection in 5 years. Yes.
Perfect. And what is a match people should go out of their way to see that best shows off you as a pro wrestler?
Well, definitely the tag team match with Safire and Millie McKenzie, because it was a fight. It was a fun brawl as well. And it's just Tayra and me in our gimmick best and, well, with amazing opponents. So that one is, I think, the whole show of Fury. It's the Valkyrie Cup is on YouTube. So this is actually doable and watchable, and it's my favorite match ever to watch and to be in.
Perfect. And what was the name of the event?
It was the Valkyrie Cup of Fury, all women pro wrestling from Germany.
Perfect. And you don't even have to go looking for it. I will find the match and I will put a link to it in the description of the video below, both on YouTube and Castbox, with a timestamp. For anybody that hasn't seen it, wants to see it, wants to re-see it after the interview.
Wow, that's service you were providing there.
Hey, I gotta, have to do my guest correctly.
You do, and your fans.
Yes, of course. And since we are nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom.
Oh no.
This is our speed round, or bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
Oh no. Yes, I know. Yes, I am in.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Worst wrestler.
John Cena.
I will accept that answer.
He's a great actor, though.
He's good in, what's it called? No, I'm blanking. Not The Patriot. Okay.
Peacemaker?
Peacemaker, thank you.
Yes. I love that show.
You're main eventing WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
Becky Lynch.
If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Oh, Jack Sweaters, the patriotic one. I love that one.
Okay, yes, I know which one you're talking about. Right. Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is...
Rising from the dead as a zombie.
We would have also accepted taste great on toast.
Oh, without pineapple.
Correct. Squash. Vegetable or fruit?
Fruit.
That is correct. It is indeed a fruit.
Shoo.
Yes, it has seeds. Tomato logic.
Ah, yes, true.
New Japan wrestler Taichi. His ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
Well, it depends on the butt that's in it, but I live by the motto of the more butt, the better.
Okay.
So it should be TV appropriate, but I like some butt.
Alright. And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
No, I'm from Germany. We don't talk to strangers in supermarkets. But I would like to be the stranger in a supermarket, engaging or starting a conversation about Darby Allin.
And that's the correct answer. And
Maybe this was I will do in 5 years.
that will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so fun. You didn't promise too much by saying you have the good questions.
Yes, we deliver when it comes. We like to make it interesting for our guest.
You did. You surely did.
And once again, where can we find you on social media?
I'm on Instagram. I think I'm still on Facebook and on YouTube. Nicky Foxely, sometimes with an underscore, sometimes without. Just Google me.
And you don't even have to type it into your Google machine. All of the links to all her social media will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox, simply click the link. A new tab will appear on whatever device you are on. You have no excuse. Give her a damn follow.
Yes, I'm funny, goddammit.
If you like puns, she's your goal.
I try my best, and I try my worst, and I succeed.
Of course, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, but on YouTube and Castbox. This was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us every Tuesday and Wednesday for new incredible interviews, and follow the show at Wrestling with E, but on Extra and Instagram for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. Follow me personally at JamesJ993. Alright, when I say wrestling wit, you say entertainment, okay?
Yes.
For our very special guest, Nicky Foxley, Calico Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with
Entertainment! Woohoo!
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.